Centre de Pelé vers Papin qui dévie habilement vers Chris Waddle qui reprend. Et but fantastique de Chris Waddle.
Je suis arrivé, how can I say it? Je suis arrivé, say it again? Arrivé. Je suis arrivé in Marseille. I don't know what 89 is in French. Oh, that's too difficult. It was in 1989 in July, and I think it was about 2 weeks before the championship started in Lyon. I always remember it was very, very, very hot. And I think then everybody maybe doubted why Tappy had spent 4.5 million English pounds on me. I grew up in Gateshead, which is a suburb of near Newcastle. And I played football with, I had 2 older brothers, and my dad was football crazy, so I played football at a young age and started playing from about 3, 4. Then I got in the school team at 6. Maybe when I got to 14, I went to Coventry City, and I stayed there for 2 years. But when it came to getting 16, where you get in France a cadet, they didn't offer me one, so I had to leave school, and I started working. And I worked for 2.5 years in a factory which made seasoning, flavouring for sausages and pies. Then I played amateur football with a team. And in the season I would play very well. I developed, I grew, I got taller and stronger. And Newcastle came, Sunderland came, other teams, Barnsley, and they all come and watch. And then at the end of the season, Newcastle said, we'll give you 1-year contract, which I took, and I leave my job. And I started at Newcastle. I had a 1-year contract. So I stayed at Newcastle for 5 years, and I went to Tottenham, which I signed for 4 years. And as I signed a 7-year contract, 3 months later, we're in Marseille.
L'OM nouveau était au grand complet sous l'œil attentif de Michel Platini, les anciens et les dernières recrues, Chris Waddle, Jean Tigana et Alain Roche.
When they offered the money at Tottenham, I think Tottenham said, if you pay this amount, you can have Chris. And they didn't think Bernard Tapie would offer 4.5, whatever, million pounds. And they said, if you offer this, you can have him. And they thought he wouldn't offer it, and he did. So it was a little bit of luck, really. When I came, the players were fit. They'd been training for 2-3 weeks. They were all fit. They'd been in the mountains, they'd been running, and I did nothing. And I walk into this team and I think, you know, it was completely opposite, you know, and the heat. And that's why all the players started calling me roast beef. So...
Samedi matin, sur la pelouse encore convalescente du stade Vélodrome après le concert des Pink Floyd, les joueurs marseillais effectuent le traditionnel décrassage en toute décontraction. Gérard Gilly continue de peaufiner la condition physique de Chris Waddle et les autres trottinent au sol.
I always remember it was very, very, very hot. So it was a big change straight away. I was feeling the pressure a little bit, trying to get fit. And also, the language was a problem. I had a small baby at the time. My wife was in a hotel, and it was very, very, very difficult. You know, just to go to the shop and ask for a piece of bread or a sandwich, it was all very, very difficult, and it was quite depressing. And to arrive in Marseille in 2 weeks before the championship, I thought maybe 2-3 weeks to get fit and then start playing. But the first game was in 2 weeks, and they put me on the bench in Lyon, and I didn't feel right. But Tapie said, you're a substitute, and I came on half-time when we were winning 3-0 or 4-0.
Ballon toujours bien enveloppé. Paquet cadeau pour Papin. Papin. Il s'est claqué.
And I ended up wearing the captain's armband. Jean-Pierre Papin pulled his hamstring, and he had to go off. And he put the armband around my arm. And
Brassard transmis à Chris Waddle.
Which was bizarre because I could basically count to 10 in French and say hello and goodbye, and that was it. But I felt all right because of the adrenaline, and I think I was in a great team. So I felt excited, so I think that got my fitness through. After, Jean-Pierre, who I obviously got quite friendly with, who spoke the best English in the changing room. So Jean-Pierre said, why don't you come and live at my house till you find a house? And I let my wife go back to England for a period because she was going crazy. And I lived with Jean-Pierre for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, which was a good help. And Jean-Pierre was very helpful. And I think he was quite clever as well, because I think when I used to pick the newspapers up and say, what does that say? And I think it was bad at the time. And I think Jean-Pierre used to say, oh, it just says that you're getting better and your fitness is good. And I think it was more or less saying I wasn't very good, but he turned it round. So, you know, he helped me a lot with my confidence. And once I got my confidence, you know, when I moved into my house, that's when, obviously, it all happened.
« 29 ans, pied gauche redoutable, Chris Waddle, l'ancien numéro 9 des Spurs de Tottenham, commence à trouver sa place aux côtés de Jean-Pierre Papin et Enzo Francescoli. Un but contre Toulouse, quelques passes en profondeur particulièrement bien ajustées contre Montpellier. Chris a su adapter son jeu à celui de l'OM.
When I played in England, I always played on the right wing. I started on the left wing because I was predominantly left-footed. And when I first came to Marseille, they wanted to put number 10 on me and say, I want you to play behind Jean-Pierre. And I'd never played sort of this role before. And I found it very difficult at first for them to say. And I remember we go in the changing room one day on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, and we basically, Gérard Gilly, who was coach at the time, said, give me the pen with Jean-Pierre Bernays. And they said, where do you want to play? And I put it on the right, a cross on the right. And they said, not here. And I said, no, here. And they said, OK, Saturday, you play here.
En reculant d'un cran, Chris Waddle peut devenir l'un des meneurs de jeu de l'équipe, un rôle sur mesure que Gérard Gilly, l'entraîneur marseillais, lui attribue en toute confiance.
Il a beaucoup d'activités, donc c'est un garçon qui est en permanence disponible. Et quand il a le ballon dans les pieds, il lui est très difficile de lui prendre. Et comme il sait l'utiliser, je crois que quand sa progression sera terminée, ce sera un élément intéressant.
And we played Paris Saint-Germain on the TV on the Friday, live on the television. And I was lucky enough to score, which I know a lot of people have seen the goal many, many times, and where I flick it over Bat's head, and I nearly missed the back heel into the goal. And then after, they said, OK, this is your position. It was strange because they spent so much money buying me. Yeah, they didn't know where I played really properly, and it was really all bizarre how... But from then on, I said now, Marseille will see the real Chris Waddle. You know, the way I played football, I was on the top of my game. I was 29 when I signed. You know, when you play for Marseille, it's not as easy as people think. You have to win every game. You have to perform well. And every team wanted to beat us. So every game, you could never relax. You could never say, oh, yeah, sure, when you're 6-7-0 up, you can relax. But when you cross the line to start the game, when the referee goes, you have to be completely mentally strong. So if we played a team who said, the only way to beat Marseille is kick them, we had players who could say, come and kick us. And if the other team said, no, you have to play football against them, you beat them, we play football.
Allez, Manuel Amoros pour frapper corner, ballon tendu, avec Chris Waddle, là c'est pas fini. Faute de frappe, pied droit, oulala, ballon piqué. Oh le but, oh quel but. Oh quel but, signé Chris Waddle. Magnifique ce but de Chris Waddle, pied droit. Alors tout le monde le cherche, allez où Chris Waddle, et bien le voilà.
C'est pourtant à Waddle que reviendra le privilège de parachever le succès olympien sur un de ces buts dont il a le secret et que je vous laisse admirer.
C'est Chris Waddle qui va encore alourdir la note, bien lancé par Jean-Pierre Papin, il croise et marque. Marseille battant 5-0, joyeux Noël, bonne année à tous et bravo Jean-Pierre Papin.
Les champions de France ont heureusement pu compter sur un Waddle au sommet de son art.
Nouvelle action de Waddle.
In the role I had in the team, you know, I didn't have to keep defending and running this way and running that way, then run this way. I basically had a license to play. And I was very grateful of Amaros was behind me, Gloma, Basil, Kazuni, or Carlas, or Dimico, or Deschamps, Germain. These players were very important because they stop the goals and they win the ball and they say, Chris, yeah, go. Without them players, I would not have seen the ball.
Waddle, lucarne, elle est superbe. 4-12-1 pour l'Olympique de Marseille.
Waddle, la frappe de Waddle dans le petit filet, premier but pour les Marseillais.
Quand c'est pas dans le jeu, c'est sur coup de pied arrêté, Waddle. D'habitude, il les tire fort en contournant le mur et pas très haut. Ces coups-là, il le met au premier poteau, lucarne, ce qu'il voulait faire. C'est un des meilleurs joueurs du monde.
Bordeaux, I remember we win 2-0 and I scored 2 goals. And I remember the coach was Goethals, who came to Marseille later. But I remember in the paper, they asked Goethals what they thought of me and he said, oh, he's okay, he's very ordinary. And, oh, I thought, okay. And when I scored the second goal, if you see the TV, I do run across to the dugout at the bench and I sort of say, who's ordinary? But maybe I shouldn't have done it, but he shouldn't have said what he said. I've always played football with a smile, and I like communication with the crowd, and I like the smile. And you know, football's entertainment. People pay a lot of money to go and watch a game, and I used to think, you know, if you go and watch a singer, you pay good money, you want to be entertained. This was basically, if I missed a shot or I did something stupid, it was basically saying I was a donkey. So I thought, you know, I'm not a player who runs around the football pitch and tackles everybody crazy like Dimico or like Deschamps. That was their game. They could win the ball very good and pass to the players. Very, very good. And I used to think, I can't do that. But what I can do is I can dribble and I can smile and I can communicate with the crowd. The crowd love skill, they love technique. And I knew I had technique and I had skill. So I thought, use it. And maybe I did it too much sometimes, but that was not just, it was entertainment for me. I couldn't do what I did in France, what I did in England. No. I could play football a certain way, but to communicate with the away fans, no, not possible. I think the difference in France and England is, you know, if you play for one team, most of the other teams don't like you.
Chris Waddle, oula. Il est passé, ouais, il est passé, Chris Waddle, passé.
When I was on the wing or the ball was a free kick, I'd go and say, oh, Waddle, Waddle. And it wasn't just Marseille, it sort of spread around the whole of France.
C'est vraiment fantastique. Un homme qui arrive à faire lever les foules, Chris Waddle. Et regardez le public. Quand je vous disais que c'était le vrai chouchou du Vélodrome.
Ah ouais. You know, when I see modern players now and modern pop stars, and I think I had a small piece of that, and I know what it's like. You know, when I was in Marseille, basically whatever I did, I had a wine, Chris Waddle wine. I had people used to copy my long hair. The amount of people who copied my hair was unbelievable. I had jeans, Chris Waddle jeans. Parking tickets, I had 50 parking tickets. The police, I never paid one. I had to just sign and it was a souvenir. Free meals, free beer, which was good. It was just, it was like being a pop star for 2 years. It was that bad. I used to go in supermarkets and I had to run. Girls were chasing me, and everywhere I went, it was just crazy. And I always, you know, it was funny at the time. I look back and I laugh. And but there was Waddle mania, and I enjoyed it. It was good fun, and I enjoyed it. But you know, when you get to 30, 31, and you still get these people chasing you and screaming, you think, whoa, 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 I'm an old man now. And if I'd been 21, it might have been different. But it was bizarre. But because I think the certain way I played, and I think because I try to communicate with a smile, I think that's why, hopefully, I'll be remembered in France for a long time. But I think I won a lot of friends by the way I played football. Three European Cups we played in. First one obviously was a big part of why I went to Marseille. I wanted to play in the Champions League now, and obviously it was very important to the club and obviously to the president. And you know, we had a good run in it, and we really thought we would win it. And I think everybody knows now. You know, when we had Benfica at home in the semi-final, we won 2-1 on the night, and we should have won 5 or 6. You know, we had the chances, and we had many chances. The goalkeeper played very well. And it was a little bit frustrating. But, you know, when you were in this team, it doesn't matter where you played, you always thought you would win games. So, all right, going to the Stadium of Light in Lisbon was a difficult game, but nothing we thought we shouldn't win. And I think everybody knows now about the handball and which cost to at the end. And maybe, you know, the first year in it was a learn for the team. It was a good learning experience to get so far. And once we lost to Benfica, I think we all knew Milan would win it. Everybody said Milan were the best team in the world, and we used to think, no, we are the best team in the world. And we wanted the chance to prove it, and we didn't get the chance that year. And it was very disappointing. That year, when we go to the final, you know, we play very good football all the way through. We entertain, we score goals. Sure, everybody remembers the Milan game because it was Milan, and this was the chance we had to say who was the best team. And we go to the San Siro, and but we play some good football. We were excellent on the night, and we passed it and we dribbled and we caused problem after problem to Milan. And then I remember Biddy does a great dribble, gives me the ball, I get the gap, I see Jean-Pierre at the far post, and I thread the ball through, and normally Jean-Pierre scores.
Un ange passe au-dessus de San Siro qui applaudit des deux mains ce trait de génie des attaquants marseillais.
And we come off the pitch 1-1, and I remember everybody says great result, but you know, even then I was a little bit disappointed we didn't win. And when we go back to the Velodrome, the ground was full about 3 hours before the game, I think, and the atmosphere was electric. I had problems in the game. I had 3 challenges on the back of my head off Maldini and Baresi, and you know, I think I keep smelling the salts. I kept getting blurred vision, and I had a terrible headache. And but I just played on memory. I cannot, in certain parts of the game, I didn't remember after. I remember the goal. The goal was bizarre because it was the 3 strikers who everybody talk about. Everybody say Papin, Waddle, Pelé, and everybody used to say these 3 attackers are very difficult to contain. You can't stop these guys.
Centre de Pelé vers Papin qui dévie habilement vers Chris Waddle qui reprend et but fantastique.
And it was strange. A bit crosses it, Jean-Pierre heads it across to me, and I score with my right foot, a volley, which I can't remember doing that again. when the final whistle goes, I remember at the end I had a dribble through and I could have passed it, but I thought, I'm through. I still say now it was a penalty, and the floodlight go out, and but the game stands, and Milan players tried to stop the game, walk off the pitch, and they got banned for a year the next year. So, but I remember the game, we scored, and after I went for a meal in Americana, and I felt terrible. And where I should have been celebrating and been very happy, I felt very, very poorly, and I remember being sick outside, and then the next thing I was in an ambulance, and I have problems in which I couldn't play for 10 days. I'm sure everybody, when they think of Chris Waddle in Marseille, they'll always talk about the goal against Milan. And if people say to me about great teams, I would put Marseille, that team I played in 91, 92, I would say that was possibly one of the best teams ever in Europe. It was strange. The club obviously financially were having problems, I think, with the money, and basically I got told that, you know, it was, I was quite happy to stay in France, but Bernard Tapie said, no, I can't let you play for another French team. It wouldn't be right. So he put a big price on my head, but he said, if you go back to England, I'll sell you for 1 million. So, yeah, I looked at Spain and Italy, but the price was 4 million. At the time, 4 million was a lot of money. So to play for 4 million for 32 is a lot of money. But for 1 million, it was a good deal. I think really, when I look back, the sad part was it was not official when I left. I think nobody really knew I was going to leave. You know, it happened very quick. 1 minute I was in my house in Aix, and the next minute I was in a hotel in Sheffield. But I always felt, you know, I left very quickly, and I think I would like to have said a proper farewell and play one more game, and at the end, obviously, I'd like to have shown my respect to the crowd, and it didn't happen, and so that was disappointing for me, because I'd like to have said, last game, this is my last game, thank you, bye.
L'accélération de Jean-Pierre Papin pour Chris Waddle.
Avec
extérieur du gauche.
Ah, le petit extérieur du pied gauche, là, magnifique. Et surtout le centre de JPP qui est superbe. Alors habituellement c'est l'inverse, hein. C'est plutôt Chris Waddle qui déborde et qui centre au cordeau comme ça.
Il fait jamais rien comme les autres, Chris.
You know, when you're working in the factory and somebody says you'll finish with 62 caps, you think, no. So, you know, it was all, everything was positive, you know, and I look back at my career and I always think, you know, from starting, everything went, I've had a lot of good things, and I've had more positives than negatives. So I've played for some big teams, played with some fantastic footballers. I've had some fantastic fans. So when I look back, I still play now, not in front of crowds, but I still play football now, and I look back and I have fun memories, I have good memories, which nobody can take them away. This good-looking guy's me. This ugly guy is Basil Bully. Now, Basil came to me with an idea about making a song called Kulo Se Mama, Saga Saga Dance. You know, this is a blue pen on a blue shirt. Voila! Luckily enough, people will still remember me, and hopefully they'll watch this DVD, and I'd like to thank you all for all the respect you give me, and it goes both ways.